Hey, friend, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, cherry and whiskey, you say? Where do I sign? Whiskey Barrel Aged Cherry Stout is a 9.3% Imperial Stout from Bell's Brewing Company in Comstock, Michigan. Bell's is dropping the heavy hitters right now. Just a little bit ago it was Hop Slam, and now I'm bringing you their Whiskey Barrel Aged Cherry Stout. Now, I think technically the Cherry Stout was released before Hop Slam, but it just kind of worked out that way. So Whiskey Barrel Aged Cherry Stout, it's definitely a mouthful to say. I've said it a few times already. And as you can guess by that jumble of words, it's their Whiskey Barrel Aged variety of their Cherry Stout, which you can also get as a standalone. They also have a bourbon barrel aged version of the Cherry Stout. So if whiskey isn't your thing, well, there you go. Let's take a look at the bottle here and we will get cracking. This one it's kind of an odd color choice. It's red and a little kind of a bluish color on the back here. This one was packaged, by the way, on 12/5/2017. And on the front here, it just says Whiskey Barrel Aged Cherry Stout. It has a nice cherry tree with some huge cherries hanging off. Well, not hanging off, but fell off and on the front. And it says, Cherry Stout aged in whiskey barrels, brewed and bottled by Bell's Brewing Incorporated, Comstock, Michigan. And here on the back it says, aged for up to 12 months in whiskey barrels, our signature Cherry Stout evolves into something even more flavorful and complex. Notes of oak, vanilla, and dark chocolate are intertwined with tart Michigan cherries in a stout that seduces the palate. So we'll get the handy-dandy bottle opener again. Still looking for a new one. I think I got one in my sights, though. And this is a 9.3% by volume. And the cap is just a gold Bell's cap with the yellow bells in yellow there. Nothing super awesome to write home about. Let's give it a smell. Whoa. I can smell the whiskey, kind of like a rye kind of whiskey. Right, I mean, that's all I smell, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I'm not picking up on anything else. Obviously, that's a really bad sample because it's just out of the neck. But when you pop that cap and you get that first initial smell, that's really why I kind of smell out of the neck, because, you know, that can be a real... I mean, when you pop it, the cap on the bottle, and that's what you smell instantly, it's like, oh, it makes me want to pour it. But let's pour this. That is dark. It's got kind of a reddish hue to it, though. Not getting a lot of a head on there at all. It does look, well, it did look pretty carbonated. That is, like I said, it's really dark. You kind of get this plummy, kind of reddish tint to the brown of the beer. Okay, I'm picking up cherry a little bit more now that it's in, you know, I'm getting a bigger sample size here. Let's kind of swirl it a little bit, see if we can activate anything in there. It's a little bit too full, so I don't want to swirl it too much. But yeah, I'm getting big time rye whiskey. Like I said, maybe a tiny hint of cherry, but not a whole lot. Let's give it a taste. Okay. Wow, right off the bat, super tart cherry. Super tart cherry. If this wasn't a stout, I would say it's almost a sour. I mean, that cherry is really tart. I mean, it says obviously tart cherry on the back, but I wasn't really expecting it to be that tart, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. The more I kind of move it around in my mouth, I'm picking up the cherry gets really intense. For as much as I could smell the whiskey out of the neck and out of the bottle or out of the glass here, I'm not really picking up a lot on it. I feel like when I first put it in my mouth, because you get that, it's such a strong whiskey, kind of rye whiskey aroma, that you kind of pick it up on the front end, but once you get that cherry, it's Cherry Town. It's Tart Cherry Town after that. So you're walking through Tart Cherry Town, I don't know, population, I don't know, a lot of cherries in you. As it kind of sits back, waiting for the aftertaste. I'm picking up on a bit of dark chocolate on the aftertaste, but I'm going to be honest. When I take my drink, let's do it one more time. Big time tart cherry. That's really all I'm picking up. I'm getting, like I said, that maybe that whiskey on the first couple drinks, but after that, I didn't, on the last drink, I tried to kind of sit and analyze a little bit better. I didn't pick up any whiskey on that drink. But so it's complex because now I'm kind of picking up the whiskey a little bit and the dark chocolate a tiny, tiny hint of, but not really all that much. If I wasn't sitting here and kind of talking and ruminating over it, I don't think I'd be picking up on the chocolate at all. Again, it's really big time tart cherry. So if you're not a tart cherry fan, even though this is, Bell's and one of their kind of coveted kind of stouts, if you're not a cherry fan or especially not a tart cherry fan, this isn't one that I would recommend for you. I'm enjoying it just because it's so much different than most of the bourbon barrel or whiskey barrel aged beers. Most of those are kind of sweet. They have a bit of a sweetness to them. The bourbon adds a bit of a sweetness. This one, I don't get really any sweetness on it. It is all tart cherry. And maybe, like I said, maybe that hint of whiskey, but I'm picking up on a lot of tart cherry. And even with all that tart cherry, it's still 9.3% according to the bottle. There's no burn. It's not boozy. I can kind of taste a little bit of it's in there, but it's hidden pretty well. It's just that tart cherry is really overpowering. And I've also got to say, this is a kind of a highly sought after beer. It's a little bit on the pricier side. If you're not into tart cherry, this isn't one that I would recommend that you kind of break your neck to go and find. Honestly, I think I hyped it up a little bit to myself, a little bit too much. I like it, but it's a little bit too much on the tart cherry for me. Well, friends, that is Bell's Whiskey Barrel Aged Cherry Stout. Maybe this is the next step before we start seeing oil barrel aged beer. It makes me wonder if there's going to be a shortage of these different kinds of barrels going around. It also kind of makes me wonder what they did with all these barrels before everybody started aging their beer in them. If you know an answer to that, or if you have a small brewery in mind that you'd like to see reviewed on the channel, let me know all about it in the comments down below this video. And while you're down there, if you're a fan of Michigan beer, you should subscribe to this channel because I put Michigan beer related videos out twice a week, and you'll really be kicking yourself when you don't have this pretty face to watch. So while you're down there, you can also find links to my social media and a link to my website at drafttherapy.com. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. And remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries, and most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching. Cheers.